Clearly, there's not one in here.
You know what? Don't worry about it.
How else do I need to do today?
Just in minutes.
Yeah.
Yes. Terry Tracy to be parliamentarian.
And then I'll get, I'll actually have Wednesdays. Right? That makes me feel better. I'm looking, reading this. I don't even know how clerk's report is.
Yes.
Just to say I was here.
You know, probably. Huh? Oh, yes. Very fine. Okay. We got time.
I feel the same way. The less I hear from you, the better. If you are looking for your annual giving statement, they will be on the piano. That's the machine. So, or If it's not terribly inconvenient, could everybody move to the front pews? It would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, yes, please do. I didn't mean to interrupt your.
Oh, Mike, between this, this, and this. Maybe I can just, this feels kind of awkward.
That was really if you decide to walk around.
If I just say to roam.
Heard it hit a moving target.
All right, it is 10:45, the time of reckoning. I would like to call the 2023 annual meeting for St. Paul's United Church of Christ to order. And I believe have everybody signed in. We have 4 people online, and with that, we have 27 people, and we have a quorum. So thank you. All right, I have asked, and he has agreed, Terry Tracy has agreed to be our parliamentarian, so thank you to Terry. Would you all take a look at the agenda, and please see if there's anything amiss, and if not, if somebody could make a motion to adopt the agenda. Okay. All right, Jeff, then Mike. All in agreement, say aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. All right, the agenda has been adopted. Then if, Pastor Steve, if you would please lead us in a prayer. And I don't know.
You know where you got the logo, huh? The past 100 and as we move forward in the days. Your presence this day. The church for the work of ministry.
Amen. All right. If you would next take a look at the minutes from last year's meeting, and I'll give you a minute to review them if you haven't looked them over. And then we will need a motion to approve them. All right. Motion from Jeff to approve the minutes. All those in favor, please say aye. Oh, my parliamentarian's whispering in my ear. We need to have discussion before we vote. So any discussion? Then, okay, hearing no discussion. Now, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. All right, the motion carries to approve the minutes from last year's annual report, or annual meeting, forgive me. Pastor Steve has included his report, I will just summarize that he did a good job considering he's only been here for a brief amount of time. And we appreciate him being with us. It's been good to have some consistency. It's been good to be nudged and to be guided in this interim period. So thank you so much, Pastor Steve. Then next is the President's report. That's my report. Again, I could not have done this without each and every one of you sitting in the pews, viewing online, and those who are not with us. This has been,
You're fine.
I'm okay?
You're fine. If anybody in the audience needs to speak, they'll have to use the
Oh, and I do have a handheld Mickey, so. I did not come into this role without being asked a few times, as a few of you will attest to. It took some time and thought and prayer until I came into the role, and I've had many of you say, "Oh, Julie, I'm so sorry. I didn't, think this would all happen." And I've always said, neither did I, but I have not been concerned because I have always been turning to God, more so this past year than ever, but I have always turned to Him with prayers and concerns, and He's always lifted me through. So it's a combination of Him and you that has helped me, so I thank you all. I thank you. All right, now on to something less emotional. I'll have Tom come up and talk and field any questions regarding our treasurer's report.
All right, well, I'll open it up before I could give a synopsis of the budget, or if there's any questions before, I'd be more than happy to field them. All right. Well, then I guess just wrapping up 2022 in a nutshell and looking forward to 2023, I just want everyone to be aware of what went into the planning and the budgeting so that everybody can be comfortable making a decision whether to adopt or not the 2023 proposed budget. Looking at 2022, the biggest piece of good news that we had was the success of the matching program. So the foundation, if you all recall, back in February, made an announcement that they had approved up to $16,000 to match 2-for-1 any increases that the congregation made. So increases meaning looking at the 2021 giving by envelope versus 2022. So looking at that, over half the people who gave, half of the giving units, increased their gift from 2021 to 2022. That generated over $35,000 of additional giving than we would have had without the program, and that's not including the match. So that's just from everybody in the seats here made that happen. And the average increase, over 50% increased, and of those people that made increases, the average increase was 50%. So it really was a remarkable news story. That was 1 year of what was supposed to be a 3-year program to build up enough funding so that we could afford a full-time minister. Looking at 2023 then, the planning for the income is really the most challenging piece that we have. So the $16,000 that the foundation approved for 2022 that we earned in 2022, we haven't yet requested from the foundation. One was that we were running a $14,000 surplus even without that. So thanks to all that strong giving from everybody that's here, which we incredibly appreciate, we had a really good 2022 and didn't need the money right away. Secondarily, we're in the process of setting up a money market fund to get a better return on the funds that we have, because for the first time in, the first time since I've been involved with the finances of St. Paul's, we actually have enough cash that we have too much in the checking account, need to do something to put it to work. And in the environment that we have with interest rates going up, it makes that much more sense. I'm just finding that there are a lot of names on the banking accounts with associated that are with people that are no longer here. So Amy Detloff and I are going to have to do some rounding people up, get some autographs, make that happen. But that's the first piece. So looking at income in 2022, we had budgeted $159,000. We had $129,000 of current income. That's just giving in envelopes or through Vanco or through PayPal. And then we have all of our rental income, our 3 rental units. We're expecting those all to come in 2023 as they did in 2022. Then the other income that we had in 2022 of $13,655 included a large bequest. And that one you don't get those twice. So in 2023, when we have $18,665 of other, $16,000 of that is the foundation from what we earned last year. That means that year 2 of the program we need to discuss from a stewardship and from a foundation perspective. It's not necessarily a guarantee. That was the plan at the time. I believe we'll continue pursuing that, but more to come when we get those details wrapped up. So that being said, you'll see that in 2023 we have $156,563 of giving budgeted. And the reason that we're not seeing the trajectory continue to creep up is that we lost a number of significant givers in 2021 and 2022. And looking at 2023, even if we continue our good growth of the people who give, keep giving strong, it's going to be hard to plug the hole from the people that left. And that's where we have a little bit of urgency around this, and that we're just barely breaking even with interim and full-time minister budgeted. So we're full-time. I used that word wrong, Julie. She caught that. I almost put it in the printed materials. A permanent pastor, part-time, we budgeted for November next year. And we're still just barely breaking even with the $16,000 of foundation income in there. And obviously, we don't want to be using that forever. The foundation's goal was to be outreach and external rather than internal, but we've gotten to a point where there isn't a lot of a choice right now, and it's been good to have that. But again, we'll need to focus on stewardship, on giving, on growing the congregation in the next year to make this sustainable and kind of wean us off of the 3-year program that we've been trying to put together from the foundation. So then looking at the expenses, like I had mentioned, we've got full-time with health benefits, all that budgeted for November. We're hoping that actually happens. Not that, actually I'd prefer just Pastor Steve would stay all 12 and commit to that, but we've been told that that's not a permanent solution. Yeah, other than that, we did budget not just cost of living, but also, I mean, inflation's been a lot for our employees. So we had that in there, but also merits, the lack of raises for several years. There's some catch up in that. The Personnel Committee met, has used the recommendations, and we budgeted the increases based on that. Other items, other than, we've been seeing our utilities go up, so we've increased that. Other than that, largely everything else is budgeted flat year to year. So looking at where we're expecting 2023 to come in, we have $156,563 of income versus $156,202 of expenses, leaving us with positive income of $362 for the year, compared to we're at $14,317 last year. So that was a lot of talking. Any discussion, any questions, anything surprising that people weren't expecting out of me? All right. Do we take the motion right now then? Or?
And as always, if there are questions after the meeting, Tom's more than willing, I'm more than willing, Jeff's more than willing to address them. So if there are no discussion points, if we could have a motion to accept the treasurer's report as written. Right, first by Jeff, seconded by Mike. And now any discussion? You've had 3.2 seconds to think about it. All right. Then seeing no discussion, All those in favor of accepting the treasurer's report and budget as written, please say aye. Those opposed, please say nay. Oh, it's okay. It's good to have a little dissension. It is. It is okay. But I think you're overruled, Abby. Oh, and it's good to laugh. It is. So, seeing that the yeas carry, we will approve the treasurer's report as written. Thank you. Thank you. All right. The clerk's report, Lynn and I discussed this. It's okay. Okay. So reviewing the membership report, several people passed away that were friends or former members. We had a few new members. I was going to ask, I thought that Mr. Fritz. That was last year. Oh, okay. Because he came up in front with Barb and Amber and Ryan, so I was confused. Okay, okay, so clarification, Mr. Fritz did rejoin prior to 2022, but he just came and was part of the ceremony, so, okay, so that is accurate. A bunch of confirmands, a few people who have left the church, and so our membership stands at 159. Questions? Yes, Abby. Question about the Huntoons. They have not officially left membership, but they have not attended in some time. Yes, yes.
And I have been in touch with Mark. My concern is that they find a church home, if not here, then somewhere that works for that family, but hopefully that will result in a return. I don't know. We've just had one 20-minute conversation on the phone, but there will be other conversations as we move into the new year.
Another family that you haven't seen around here are the Giesfelds. They as well are searching out a new church, and we're hopeful they come back.
Yeah, no, I don't, so I don't think these are changes to the written, it's sidebar, it's commentary. So yes, officially what is written has transpired. So, okay, do we need a motion to accept that as well? Yes, we do. All right. It's a report, exactly. So if we could have a motion to accept the membership report, please. All right, Jeff is firsting. Oh my goodness. Jeff has made a motion and Jane has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? We already had a little discussion, but any other discussion about membership? All right, then seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Motion to accept the clerk's report. All right, the board and committee reports. I'll just give a little summary. You are all capable of reading, and presumably you have read them before we got here. But the Board of Christian Education continues to soldier on. The number of children has decreased, unfortunately, but they continue to host various events and I think make us more visible in the community, especially with the Halloween trick-or-treat. So that's a good thing. I'll keep going through these couple reports and then we'll take a vote. So it is then the trustees. Our mantra is the cross is lit, the building's still standing, and thirdly, the heat is on. So we are very blessed and thankful to everyone on trustees as well for keeping our house of God operating. The deacons have kind of returned to quote-unquote normal, and we're very grateful for that. We're back to passing the peace, passing the communion and the offering plates. They tried a contemplative service under Reverend Pete, and that had brought some good feedback. And they're continuing to greet new members, hand out information, and encourage more participation in worship. So we're grateful for that as well. Okay, the other reports I am not going to go into great detail. It's like I said, you can read those. I will give you a minute or so to look them over, and then I'll ask for a vote to accept all the reports. No?
I move to accept all board and committee.
In the annual report? Okay. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jeff. Any discussion? Any additions, corrections? All right. Then all in favor, please say aye. Those opposed? All right, the board and committee reports pass. Additional reports, the budget report, cemetery and foundation. Okay, so Tom did kind of go through our proposed budget for 2023. As proposed, we're running just a hair of a surplus. That's a good thing. But as he mentioned, we are anticipating calling a part-time permanent pastor, so that will change our budget. We had Reverend Pete for the first 9 months at part-time, but then we had to pay 4 interims. And now, paying for pulpit supply. So as we shift into, obviously we're in the middle of an interim, but as we shift to a called pastor, that is going to change our finances again and what we need to do. So keeping that in mind as we go forward. Then with the cemetery and foundation reports, please take a look at those and think of any questions, comments, concerns that you'd like to bring up as well. Yes. Right, Chris has made a motion to accept. Jeff will motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of accepting the budget, cemetery, and foundation reports, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. On to old business. We have had discussions in the cabinet meeting about the Missions and Stewardship Board. As we all are aware, it's been challenging to fill all the open seats, and so we had suspended the Missions and Stewardship Board and disseminated their duties to other boards. We did discuss whether we should continue to annually suspend this board, or if we should make a motion to suspend it indefinitely. And the conclusion we came to, and anyone correct me if I'm wrong, is that we will continue to bring it up annually so that we do not forget about this board. As Pastor Steve mentioned, it is a very vital part of our church, and there are several members, one in particular, who does an awesome job of continuing to guide us with St. Ben's and the food pantry and things like that. So we do want to keep bringing it up. So I am going to ask for a motion to continue to suspend the Missions and Stewardship Board for an additional year. Okay. Jeff first, Mike second. Okay. Any discussion, any questions or concerns? Yes, Pastor Steve.
You've all read my report, but I do make reference to the Board of Missions and Stewardship, and I suggest as maybe an interim step back into this, the work of this board, that maybe we might set up a ministry team. And I've suggested we do that with no agenda, no obligatory monthly meeting, no long-term commitment, that perhaps we call it a team ministry at this point, but to see this as a possible step back into the time when we can constitute this board once again. And I've also indicated if anybody is so interested, I'd be happy to know the names, or happy to sit down with those folks, and we can decide where we go from here.
And you're looking at like a short-term,
Yes. Yes.
3 to 6 month type
Yep.
of deal rather
Yeah.
than an annual. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Mike. Oh, Jeff's going to come over with the, thank you, Jeff.
I just want to recognize the work that Jane Gardbreck has done with the Missions and Steward. I mean, it's behind the scenes.
Yes.
A lot of you probably don't even know that it's going on. Jane organizes Falls Food Pantry, and she makes those meetings. She keeps those of us that are volunteers, let us know what our schedules are. And also, she heads up getting us involved with St. Ben's
Yes.
down in Milwaukee. And I just want to recognize her for all the work that she has done and continues to do for
Yes.
those people that we help, and also that we're recognized, St. Paul's is recognized for the stewardship that we do, thanks to Jane.
I agree. Round of applause. Thank you, Jane. So yes, in essence, Jane has been the Missions and Stewardship interim board. Chris?
Perhaps we could add a couple of names and have her do like a kind of, just a committee thing, if she has some people that could help out. And we can maybe think about other outreach stuff, as in maybe our transportation services, have someone help, just, build a couple of people that we would have as that interim committee kind of thing. So we'll ask Jane who she wants to put on that. Because she's on it.
Yeah. Well, okay, yes, so
Can
perhaps.
that be added to a cabinet meeting business agenda?
Yes, so can
Yes, it
we, yes, as the new cabinet president.
Yes, it
Can we maybe have a motion to reflect that, and then the Gotta finish the
Put on
first.
hold.
Okay, so this is good, we're talking. Okay, so the original motion was to suspend the Missions and Stewardship Board. Discussion has led us down another path. Back to the motion. The motion was to suspend the Missions and Stewardship Board. All those in favor say yay. All those opposed say nay. Okay, so I think that means it's suspended. Now, to this point about taking it back to cabinet and Jane having some assistance, we need a motion. Mm-hmm. Correct. Thank you, Paul. Yes. Yes.
Of a committee to deal with stewardship and missions be discussed and approached at a cabinet meeting. Will that do it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So Wednesday. Anybody's interested, Wednesday.
I'll second that.
Okay, so the motion is that there be a committee to assist with our current missions and stewardship activities, and that we meet at the cabinet meeting to discuss further. First and second, all those in favor say, this. Put it on the agenda? Okay, well, we did have a. Okay.
And then you can choose.
My last official. Okay.
You can delay it.
I can delay the motion to the meeting?
Yeah. And then it'll go to,
A second.
on the second, yeah, we're finished with the first.
Okay.
Well, if they don't need to withdraw, we could actually just vote and go forward.
It sounds like it's been, yes, it sounds like there's some, okay. So, yes, let's go forward with addressing this at the cabinet meeting. Everybody good with that? Yay. Because, yes, we need to keep this in mind and keep working at it. Eventually, we will get back to a full board for missions and stewardship. Okay, so another thing to add to the agenda, Jeff. It does. Okay, new business, adopting the 2023 budget. Tom reviewed that before, and I think we did do that, yes? So we're good, okay. All right, then elections before we get to other business of the congregation. So the nominations have been listed in your packet for those filling the President's role, Jeff Yeagle. Vice President, Chris Sparrow. Treasurer, Tom Lindau. Secretary Clerk, Mike Bauman. Past President, Julie Loth. The trustees, Mike Mowry, Mike Gresham, Paul Martin, Blaine Harris, Lynn Bauman, John Rubat. The Board of Deacons, Kate Tracy, Mike Detloff, Pam Gabowski, Steve Hoagland, Abby Harkins, and Jane Gardebrecht. Christian Ed, Cam Lindau, Bonnie Hoagland, and Gladys Hoagland. And we have 3 open spots. Missions and Stewardship is suspended. CPR Committee, we have 4 people, Andy Toby, Terry Tracy, Amy Crone, and Sue Schulke. There are 2 open positions. The Budget Committee, Amy Detloff and John Rubat. Nominating Committee is myself and an open position. And then the Cemetery Committee is Paul Martin, Bill Gabowski, and Jane Martin. I'm sorry, Jane Gardebrecht. Jane, I just added you, sorry. All right. Do I have a motion to accept those nominations for 2023? Okay. Jane Gardebrecht motioned, Mike Mowry seconded. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, then I ask for your vote. All those in favor say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. All right, the nominations have been accepted. All right, then what, Mickey? Nothing. Troublemakers in the back. See, that's why Pastor Steve wants you to sit up front. All right. Next on the agenda is any other business for the good of St. Paul's. I think we had a good discussion about continuing with missions and stewardship and how does that look and how can we go forward. So that's a good thing. Other questions, concerns? Oh, yes, an update from the search committee. Yes, we had met a few weeks ago with a UCC church in Bayview, Christ Church on Oklahoma, and had a nice conversation with them and Reverend Jane, and then each of us went back to think about it and discuss, and we are actually going to discuss at the cabinet meeting more on this, but that's 3 days away. Let's just cut to the chase. I did get an email from their president saying that they no longer wish to enter into a joint ministry with us to share a pastor, primarily because of the distance. It is about 30 to 40 minutes travel time between here and Bayview. So they will continue to look for a part-time pastor on their own, and we will be doing the same. So we have had some discussions about trying to form relationships with UCC churches in our area, Germantown, something a little closer. So that is potentially something that we will look at. So because it is we do have a better chance if we look for a full-time minister. The number of candidates out there is small, just in general. The number of part-time candidates is even smaller. So that is something, we're facing, but we believe that the right person will be out there, and we will find him or her. So, other questions, other concerns? Oh, Jane?
I'm wondering if we know what's going on with the women's restroom up here. There's water dripping in there like a waterfall.
Yes, okay. Okay, hold on.
The internet here. It's for the internet people.
Okay, so we tried, in the middle of winter, so we tried a patch on what we thought where that water might be seeping in. Turns out, the more we investigated and chopped out a little bit more of the ceiling there to take a look, it's a long time leak. So there's rot under there, and it's coming, looks like it's coming from the edge. It's something that I couldn't and we couldn't just do ourselves. And we have the same roofer that did the Narthex performance roofing came at it. We were up there and gave me a hand too. And they're going to give us a bid on peeling back about 40 feet of that and then replacing this, the rotted material and the flashing so that we can go on there. Now the trick there is most of the, if you're familiar with the sawtooth type roof over there, the rubber roofing between there over time shrinks. So that's pulling in. So that's not laying flat on the deck anymore. That's a problem. That's a big problem and big money to do the rest of the roof over there. So they were trying to find ways to be creative to tie in to the stretched material. So they have to cut back as far as they feel comfortable to get into the main part of the building. The leak seems to be located right near the edge and where we have one of the drains.
Okay.
But the trick is now to put new material that's going to lay tight to the sheathing in the deck to tie that together with the rest of the roof that's stretched. So I hadn't heard back. I mean, I'll be talking this week as we'd like to get something going and get that done. Meantime, there isn't a lot you can do to try to, we did what we could to try, I caulked every joint up, added some rubber flashing there to stop that, and it just, in the other areas of the church when that leaked, it usually was due to the troughs getting, and our heating cables would, in the troughs would go bad, and then it would freeze. That's not the case here. This is a different problem. Because you might remember when we had the flood down far end there, and then we had other floods down below. But this is a little more challenging one. If I could have got a handle on it, I would have, but this was over what we could do. So I'll push this week to get, all the roofers are very busy. There's so much work yet still carrying over on commercial jobs. So I'll hopefully find out this week if we can get them in here. And if I got to get up there and shuffle that off for them to help them get going, then we'll do that. We moved some things out of the way. We're ready. We told them they could drive right through the back, and I don't know. We'll see. But it's a tough one. So I'll keep everybody posted there. Mike, or new trustees
Yes.
now, I guess I have. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you.
But thank you, Mike. Yes, yes. Good question, good question. Other questions or concerns for the good of St. Paul's? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn this annual meeting? Abby? We'll do Abby and Mike Karch. That way, got some different names on it. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion to adjourn has passed. Thank you all for attending.
Instead of suspend it, you have to table it.
Ah.
Table it and send it to committee.